All right, Mr. Cox, what's up? Welcome back for another week.
How you doing? How you doing? Let's hit it, man.
Well, good, man. All right, fellas, let's get right into it, man. This is going to be a good episode, man. We're going to talk about the media's role in a resilient Black identity. Then we're going to talk a little bit about yesterday's election and the results and how the media is portraying it, the narrative that they're putting out there about our role in the success of some of the campaigns. So we'll have good conversations. It's going to be a short one today, but some good information. Before we get started, let me tell everybody our particulars. We're up on YouTube, usually a day or two after our session. Please subscribe. We finally hit that 100 subscriptions. Hit that bell so you can get all of our notifications after we put out an episode. And we're looking forward to your comments and recommendations. Let's get started, Tony.
Let's get started. So we're going to talk a little bit about something that you've been passionate about since we've been recording and everything. And that's the media and how they portray us and the people they choose to portray us. So let's just be real about it. They pretty much choose who they want to put out there. And most of the time it's athletes and performers. Certain narrative about who we are and what we do and what we can't do and everything. And we just going to bring a light on some of that. They normally fall into some categories. It's an echo chamber.
Yeah.
And the echo chamber wants you to know. It's sort of kind of like what I talked about with Donald Trump on an earlier episode is Donald Trump comes out every day. He's lazy as hell, but he never missed the opportunity to get in front of a television. And so by him getting in front of television every morning, every day, he sets the narrative and it becomes an echo chamber and people believe what they hear and see from him because they hear it and see from him all the time. Until we get a firmer grip on how the media view us and not let them pick our heroes. Like you got Flavor Flav out there. He's going to be a spokesman for the Winter Olympics this year. I don't, except for donating money to a bobsled team, I don't know what he's done to get this kind of attention. It's just always people picking our spokesman for us, or spokeswomen for us. And I know you have real big thoughts about this. So I'm going to let you go ahead and go in on it for us and everything.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. My biggest thing has always been is that image is important. And, what that image is of us, of our people, if it's controlled by somebody else, then we're never going to get the message that we want to get out. And you brought on two very good examples, Flav and Snoop Dogg. These guys are entertainers, rappers, old school rappers, right? None of them have gone out and educated themselves on what's happening and what they're representing. None of it. But they're a good buffoon to put on television and say, this is Black people. Black people are only rappers, we're only entertainers, we're only singers, as opposed to being educators, scientists, lawyers, doctors, those type of positions, things, infrastructure jobs, things that help build society. And that's what they throw out in front of. When they want to talk about politics, they throw somebody like Stephen A. Smith out there to talk about politics. Again, somebody who's not educated in politics, doesn't understand geopolitics and what we're going through, but that's who they put out there to talk on our behalf. How do we get beyond this? Well, one is we need our own media. And I've been saying this for a very long time. The problem in our community is that Black media, for the most part, is run by Black women. But we need a different media. We need a media that is going to portray us in a light that is beneficial, like everybody else in this country. And until we do that, other people are going to determine what we are, what we look like, and the image that that goes on out there. So we need our own media. And I'm not talking about, the BETs and stuff like that. What I'm talking about is a news organization, legitimate news organization that is purchased and run by people who share our reflection so that we can get the right image out there.
Okay. So that's always been an issue, and you've on many occasions you've expressed yourself on that and gave us a good point of view on it.
Mhm.
So when we say the right people, what in your opinion make the right person per se to give our view on how we see America and our lot in this country and everything, how we're situated in this country?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I mean, I don't want to clarify, but I'll make it a little bit clear. Is
Okay.
I don't think that Black folks or African Americans have any issues with entertainers and singers and people like that. But they're not the people who are representative of us. And I think that's part of the problem. I mean, Snoop Dogg, really? Snoop Dogg is from Compton, LA. Snoop Dogg is not an educated man from a college degree standpoint. He's never been involved in politics. He's never been involved in anything other than his profession, which is entertainment. And he's good at that. But that's where we need to keep him. Flavor Flav is another one. He's good at his profession. He needs to stay within his profession. There are people in the United States that share our reflection that are educated on politics, that are educated on the history of this country, that are educated on the systematic racism that has happened in this country for over 400 years. They're the ones who should be speaking on our behalf. They're the ones that should have the light or the microphone put into their face and ask them questions about things that they're educated. Michael Eric Dyson, Eddie Gall from MSNBC, the astrophysicist that always comes on TV. The doctor? I can't think of his name. He's a Republican, but what's the doctor's name?
Did that Republican doctor,
Yeah, yeah.
you say?
He came from John Hopkins.
Mm.
You
Oh,
know what
oh,
I'm talking
oh, oh, I know he talking about. He had a movie about him. He's a renowned
about. Yeah,
brain surgeon.
right.
Yeah, I forget
These
his
are the
name.
people
Yeah.
who should be highlighted, and you never get those people
Mhm.
on TV. So people who don't have any association with us, who don't live with us, don't live in our communities, don't patronize our businesses. The only representation they have of us is people that they see on television, when people they see representing us in the media.
Mhm.
Another example was like, some of our political commentators, like Van Jones. I mean, this is the guy that they always throw out there when they want to hear something stupid from a Black person. Put Van Jones out there, he'll say something. Since when has Van Jones represented the Black community in any way, shape, or form? Yet he's the person that they throw on TV as CNN when, they got a narrative that they want to put out there.
Gotcha, gotcha. Van Jones last night kind of disappointed me, and we're gonna go into the we're gonna try to tie this into the election last night. And I'm glad you brought his name up because he kind of disappointed me last night.
Mhm.
And I'll go to that, and then we'll zoom back out at the bigger picture from last night. Last night, as everybody know, the the city of New York elected a Muslim mayor, Mandami, and he gave a fiery speech last night, as most candidates do when they win their election.
Mhm.
And for some reason, Van Jones, after the speech was over, said that he thought Mandami missed a opportunity to speak to all Americans. I was like, he wanted him to be cordial to Republicans and be
Mhm.
cordial to the Jewish community, and he thought he missed the opportunity to do that. Instead of having a fiery speech, he wanted him to have a conciliatory speech like he had lost or something,
Mhm.
which I believe is the problem that the Democrats have all along. They don't. They have that fight in them, and I think that's why he won New York, because he has that fight in him. I think
Mhm.
the people that have won election, the Democrats that have won elections in the last 3 to 4 years have been people that have fight in them. Wes Moore
Mhm.
had fight in his campaign, and when it was over with, he thanked everybody. He gave to his the people he was going up against. He gave them their just dues, but then he said he gets on the ground and start working, because the election is over. Now I got to deliver. And so Montgomery, pretty much, that was his time to say what he wanted to last night. It's a speech that shows that he won an election that he wasn't supposed to win. And for him to say that he missed the opportunity, I just thought was downplayed the victory that gentleman had. And so that kind of disappointed me, you
Well, I
know.
think that it's part of the overall, narrative, for lack of other words, that goes on in the United States when it comes to black folk. Is that and Van Jones just is just carrying water for the white supremacists that sit on the news stations. Is that black people should be abused physically and mentally, verbally, but we should accept it. And when we win, we should be grateful that we won. That, oh, well, thank you, master. I won and I appreciate it. And you should be happy that you won, and you shouldn't say anything, that you should just accept it and forget everything that was done to you, forget everything that was said about you the entire time that you were running your campaign, and you should just accept it and be happy that you won. And that's the narrative that is always put out. African American male or female, is it that's the expectation when you win, is to be humble. No one
Yeah.
else is supposed to be humble. I mean, you get people all the time that come out when they win and essentially say, I don't care what other people say. I don't care what those people voted for. I got a mandate. I'm going to legislate based upon my mandate. But when someone who's either a Democrat or an African American, they're supposed to um, be humble. And Van Jones is just the tip of the spear of of white supremacy in coming out and say that. He doesn't say that about any other Republican. That he doesn't say that they should have come out and been humble and thankful that they won. He doesn't say that. He only says that about um, black people. And
And he
Van Jones,
did.
go ahead.
In the contents of when he said it was kind of divisive. David Axelrod, who ran a great campaign for Barack Obama,
Hmm.
kind of clarified it and put it back in perspective, because of course the Republican pundits that were on the show was all in with Van Jones. I'm glad you said that. Van Jones said it best, that should have been it shouldn't have been a fiery brand of speech. He had an opportunity to bring everybody together. So
Hmm.
David Axelrod kind of stuffed that in the ground when he said maybe he could have had a more conciliatory speech. Said, but I'm glad the Republicans on this panel here are for civility and bringing people together now, because they have a president that's never been reconciliatory and always go to dividing. So it's all right for him to do it, but it's not all right for somebody else to do it. And then he said, well, I digress. And he goes back into his speech. But I'm glad he put it in perspective. It's always us that have to go to take the back seat. Feels like black people ourselves. Whenever something's going on, we got to be the one that turn the other cheek. And I know a lot of people are tired of that. I'm tired of it. Stop turning the other cheek and let your feelings be known. That man won a big election when he started from nowhere. And for him to say the speech he wanted to say, everybody should have been on board with that. He got plenty of time to build coalitions, plenty of time, you know? And I was like, well, Van, what did you want him to say? Because he did say that he is going to stamp out anti-Semitism in New York. What else? What do you want him to say? He said it. He said that he was going to be the mayor for all people. What else do you want him to say? And so I was really disappointed with that last night and everything. I think you're muted.
So I mean, again, when we talk about narrative, when we talk about image, you got to keep in mind what people say. It's not what who's sitting there. It's not the fact that they got Muslim person there, or Christian person there, or black person, or Asian person. It's not who you're looking at. It's what they say. Because Van Jones is no different than Nick Fuentes or Charlie Kirk or any of those other guys out there. He's the exact same person. He just has different color skin. He says
Right.
the same stuff that they say. He just says it, and it comes out of a black mouth. And there are quite a few of them out there. Candace Owens is another one. Is that they put somebody out there that looks like you who does their dirty work, which is to beat you up or say, "Well, why are black people killing black people? Why is it black on black crime?" and all that type of nonsense. But it comes from someone who looks like you, so it comes across a little bit easier or more acceptable. And as I said earlier, the biggest way for us to get around that is we have to have our own media. Media that represents us.
Hmm.
I've talked about that from an entertainment standpoint is, we need to less hearing from athletes, entertainers, musicians, and more of our educators get airtime, more of our scientists get airtime, our historians get airtime, our political leaders get airtime. That's what we need to put out there because the respect is not there anymore. I mean, when you put somebody like Stephen A. Smith, and you ask him a political question, no one's going to take you serious. No one's going to take it serious when you put a microphone in Ice Cube's face or Snoop Dogg's face or any entertainer talking about politics. We're not going to be taken serious.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the election and how we were portrayed before and after the election. Black
Sure,
people in general and Democrats in the big picture of everything. Okay,
sure.
so last night, Democrats pretty much swept everything. We had New York City mayor won, even though he had at least 8 to 9 billionaires putting millions of dollars into Andrew Cuomo, a failed candidate, and a, 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 a person that even Donald Trump said he would take him, a failed candidate, over Mondani,
Hmm.
which speaks a lot for character and everything. So, New Jersey governor, they were expecting New Jersey governor to win. The New Jersey governor elect, they were expecting her to win only by about 4 or 5 points. I think her name is Mickey Sherrill. I think that's her
Yep,
name.
that's it. Mickey Sherrill.
Yeah, she on and she, I think she won and with double digits and everything. Then you have Virginia. I think everybody knew that Abigail Spanberg was gonna win Virginia. Just they didn't expect it to be by as big of a margin. And as a matter of fact, Virginia had a clean sweep. Not only did they win the governor, they won the vice
Lieutenant governor, they
lieutenant
won the
governor,
attorney general,
attorney
and then they
general.
won and
It
then
was
they have a supermajority in the assembly now. They won
yeah,
13 Republican seats.
yeah, yeah. So that was a clean sweep for them. And we're not even going to talk, and yeah, we're going to talk about Pennsylvania. Their 2 or 3 Supreme Court justices won re-election.
Yep.
Now, that's a system I want to talk about real quick. Is they have a system where Supreme Court justices don't have to hide in plain sight. They they campaign as Democrats or Republicans or independents. They're elected into their seats
Hmm.
and they have a 10-year tenure. After
Hmm.
10 years, they got to go before the people again and be reelected.
Right.
So if you've been having a hard time, if you got a justice that have bad decision after bad decision and the people don't like them, they got to deal with them for 10 years, but after 10 years, they can get rid of 'em. So these Democrats stayed on the court, and that's important because if there's election fraud or court cases that come up for election fraud, you don't have to worry about Republicans, messing up the law with their judges and stuff, like the Supreme Court is right now. So
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
important to know. Okay, and last but not least, position 50 in in California passed by a wide majority also. And for those of you that don't know what Proposition 50 is, it's it was a vote on whether to allow the governor and the state of California to redraw their lines, their party, their district lines, so
Uh-huh.
that they can tell how many representatives they're gonna send to Washington and everything. And this was done only when Donald Trump called Texas and told Texas to redraw their lines so he could get 5 seats in the next election. So when Proposition 50 passed last night, Donald Trump promptly got on social media and said that he was going to get his Justice Department to look at criminal case in that election. So let me get this straight. California took it to the people of California and asked them, do you want to do this?
Hmm.
And voted on it. He just calls the governor of Texas and say, do this without the blessing of the people of Texas. But he says they're wrong and he's right.
Sure.
Just craziness. Go ahead and you
Well,
can speak on it. Huh?
no, because I think what happened with Proposition 50, man, is he realizes that California can redistrict the state of California where they could pick up multiple seats.
Yeah. They
And
can
through the same
offset the 5 seats that he wants from Texas
right.
alone.
Right. And Illinois could do it. New York could do it.
New
There's lots of
Jersey,
states around it. Right.
New
There's lots of
Jersey,
states around it.
Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina. We can keep going, you know?
But that,
It don't have to be like this, but that's what they setting it up to be, you know?
well, I mean, that's what Republicans do. I mean, I've said on this show many times is that they don't have any policies.
Yeah,
They can't go to the people and say, here's what we want to do. We think this is the best for you and your family, and present that and win elections. They can't do it. They have to cheat, redistrict, put, gerrymander the district where, people can't win. But I think what they learned yesterday, at least in this election, particularly in the Commonwealth where I live in Virginia, is you can gerrymander all you want, but you still have to win those districts.
yeah,
And what
exactly.
happened in Virginia is a lot of Republicans in very red district areas around the Commonwealth of Virginia said, we're tired of this. We're
Yeah.
tired of Youngkin. We're tired of, everybody following Trump, and we're gonna vote them out. And they did. I mean, they lost
Mhm.
13 seats, and particularly in a lot of very red areas in Virginia. Sure, we knew that they were going to win Northern Virginia.
Yeah,
Knew they were
exactly.
going to win Richmond, and the Democrats were
Yeah,
going to win parts of Hampton Roads. But some of these places, Lynchburg and Chesterfield and places like
yeah,
that, which were predominantly red, they lost.
yeah,
And they swept the leadership of the Commonwealth. Typically in Virginia, your governor is either a Republican or Democrat.
mhm,
Lieutenant governor is the opposite.
yeah,
They won the governor, they won lieutenant, and to keep in mind that not just is the guy in New York a Muslim, but the Virginia's lieutenant governor is a Muslim. She's a Muslim too.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
And then they won the attorney general. So you had the attorney general race here, which was really nasty because,
yeah,
Jay Jones supposedly said something in the text, and that's all Republicans ran off of it for the last 2 weeks.
mhm, mhm,
Well, he won. So they got the whole leadership and they got additional seats. So they're going to be able to get some things done here in Virginia without um, trouble from the Republicans. And then, like you said, Jersey and in Georgia, there were 2 elections down in Georgia.
that was the real surprise for me. I live here in Georgia, and of course, we vote all the time to sweep 2 Republicans out of seat. Ain't nothing happened like that since we got 2 Democratic senators.
Yep.
So I'm quite sure the Republicans here in Georgia are really shaking in their boots about right now.
Yeah, they're going to try to find another way to
Yeah,
cheat.
they're gonna
They're going to
try to
try to find
fight.
another way to keep
With,
people from voting, just like they did down in Georgia, a couple of years ago. Because that's what they do. In Maryland, the governor's already come out and said, we're going to take a look at redistricting Maryland. But this is what it needs to be. And when Democrats fight, When Democrats come out and say, you know what, we're going to throw it right back at you, and we're going to compete in districts that we don't normally compete in, people recognize that. I think people are mad at the guy up in New York. You're mad at him because what? Because he said that it's too expensive to live in New York. We all know that. I mean, I live 4 hours away from New York. I can drive up there. I know
Mhm.
when my family and I go to New York City, I know I'm going to be out of a G or two.
Yeah, it's really
To
crazy.
go up there. That's just hotels. If we stay up there for
Yeah,
2 or 3 days, I mean, I'm gonna pay that in hotels, and then
yeah.
right. Go ahead.
No, I'm agreeing with you. You're right.
Yeah, we're gonna pay. You're
You
gonna pay
you
a ton. Go ahead.
you get a 900 square foot apartment costs more than my 2,800 square foot house.
Exactly.
That
And the
don't make
guy's
no
like, look,
sense.
right, and he's like, look, just affordability. He's like, why in New York City, where we got 11 million people, is the transportation, the mass transportation, is so expensive? New York's got one of the oldest train systems in the country, but yet it's one of the most expensive ones. Why? Why is that the case? Why can't the
Somebody's
government of New York City provide either free mass transportation or discounted mass transportation so people can get to work? It just doesn't make any sense.
because people are pocketing money. That's
Right,
why. Somebody is pocketing money because it ain't that hard. And you come down to DC, and DC is their subway system is affordable. It's gone up over the years, but it's still
right.
affordable.
But the problem where we here in the DC area, the problem that we have is Metro is not bad. I like to ride the Metro. I don't have an issue with it. But unless you live in DC, you still have to drive to a Metro station. I got two Metro stations, three out here that I could drive to, but it takes me 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes to get to the train station in order to get on the train to go downtown. So living in the suburbs and trying to use mass transportation doesn't necessarily fly from a time perspective and a cost perspective. But if you live in DC, absolutely, you don't need a car. You can metro everywhere you need to go in DC and get to where you need to go in reasonable time. So I have no issues with what the guy up in New York is trying to do. He's saying if we're going to tax billionaires, why shouldn't you be taxed as a billionaire? You have
Yeah.
400,000 times more money than the average American citizen, but you don't think that you should be taxed. He's only talking about 2%, man. He's not talking about taxing 30, 40%. He's talking about 2%.
Yeah. You're exactly
The
right.
billionaires are complaining and crying.
And the other problem is, the businesses are getting these sweetheart deals in New York,
Yep.
not paying taxes and bringing their business in New York. I, you know, I, there, I'm not smart enough to know the answer. Well, let me take that back. I don't have the knowledge of all the details of what goes on in New York. I know they got a multi-billion-dollar budget,
Hmm.
and that money is being spent in a horrible way, I believe. And so, what's wrong with trying something new when the old way just haven't worked at all?
Right. Hmm.
What's wrong with it? You know,
Nothing.
I mean, you can call yourself MAGA, but as soon as somebody say socialist, all of a sudden it's a bad word. I don't know why socialist is such a bad word. Maybe I'm gonna have to do more research on socialism and everything, and see
We
how
have
why is it so
socialism.
bad? Why
It's
is it so
not.
bad?
We have socialism right now. I mean, what do people don't understand? What is Medicare and Medicaid?
Exactly.
It's socialism.
Yeah.
That's people who are working who can't use it are paying into a system so that the folks that are older or can't take care of themselves pay for it. We have public hospitals. That's socialism. When you go into a public hospital and you don't have insurance and they're still required to serve you, that is socialism. We pay for that. We just don't call it that, but that's exactly what it is.
Right.
I mean, it's just it just and people, the ACA is another one. You
Yeah.
don't get discounted ACA prices based upon just because you get them. You get them because people are paying
Well,
for
well,
that.
well. Correct me if I'm wrong. In the Constitution, I believe it says something about the government is here to protect and serve the people.
Yep.
who pay taxes into the what? Government.
Right.
I don't understand. Yeah, I don't understand. If I'm paying taxes into the government and I've been paying into Social Security all my life and I finally get Social Security, why are you mad at me? Why are
They're
you
not.
mad?
But they're not. It's just what they want to do is they want to paint people, human beings, your fellow citizens, as less than. And the way that you do that is say, "Oh, these people don't work. They don't do anything, so they don't deserve health care." Well, my point is very simple. It's just basic math. Essentially, is what it is. Cox goes and doesn't take care of himself from a medical standpoint, and he has tuberculosis, mumps, measles. I can't think of the other one. It's been eradicated here, but it was
Yeah,
coming back a couple of years. Polio, right? And you go and get on a bus, there's a chance that you're going to infect somebody on that bus, right?
yeah, yeah.
So it benefits us as a country to ensure that our citizenship or citizenry is healthy so that we don't have another COVID. We saw what a pandemic can do if it's uncontrolled. We
Let,
saw
let,
a million people in this country lose their lives because of a pandemic. And you still had idiots out there walking around saying, "You're not going to force me to wear a mask. You're not going to force me to uh, go out in
yeah,
public and
I
not try to
got it.
protect our other
That's so
citizens."
stupid. Yeah, that was the stupidest thing.
People are sending their
I heard
kids
him say that. I was like, you so stupid.
to school telling them not to wear masks. And I'm like, you don't know the person that you're sitting next to. You have no idea what underlying issues that individual has.
Immune
But you're okay
compromise.
with passing along what it is that you carry that could potentially kill them. We lost 1 million people in this country because we had an idiot president and a a
Bunch of selfish.
right, an upper class that was selfish to allow him to do what he did. So,
Let me reverse that. So Social Security type thing. So you've been putting into Social Security all your life, and come time to you for you to receive Social Security.
mhm,
Suppose somebody said, because a lot of people say, "Well, you ain't really doing that. You've been lazy, and you didn't, you don't deserve to get Social Security." Suppose somebody said you are a billionaire or you are a millionaire, and you don't deserve Social Security. But you've been paying in Social Security most of your life. You haven't been a millionaire or billionaire all your life. Should millionaire and billionaires get Social Security? Should they get Medicare? Should
good
me should
question.
me should millionaires and billionaires get Social Security or Medicare or Medicaid? I know they can't get Medicaid, but should they get Medicare once they turn retirement age?
Good question.
They don't need it.
Right. See, but my question is, to the billionaire class or the millionaire class out there that owns businesses. So if you have a brick and mortar business, and always use Amazon as a very good example. Sure, we see Amazon every single day driving around in their vehicles, dropping stuff off at people's houses and stuff like that. You benefit from socialism. Amazon, UPS, the USPS, everybody that drives on roads in the United States benefits from socialism because Amazon doesn't build the roads that bring them to my house. Amazon doesn't build the public roads that bring them into my neighborhood. Amazon doesn't build the lights and the signs and the infrastructure in the United States. That's built by taxpayers. That means people who may not ever buy anything from Amazon, their tax dollars build those roads for you to drive your truck into the community, into somebody's neighborhood to drop off a package. Amazon, the way they pay the taxpayers back is by paying taxes. So the taxes that come out of our checks build the infrastructure for our cities and our states. Businesses benefit from that infrastructure to build their business. The way that they pay back into that system is pay taxes. But what a lot of Republicans want to do in the billionaire classes, they don't want to pay any taxes into the system,
Yeah, yeah. And I don't
but they want to
understand that.
benefit from the infrastructure that's built by the taxpayers.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
No, I don't understand that stuff. So we are going to talk more about 250-year anniversary and how it relates to Black people and everything. And we're going to touch more a little more on the media part too, because the media part plays a big
Yeah, I agree.
part
Yeah,
in
yeah, I
this.
think so
Okay.
too.
And before I
Yep.
leave tonight, I want to make sure we express some love for our Black businesses. The two that we've been
Hmm.
talking about, Actively Black, they specialize in active wear for working out, things like that. They got their own cotton farm, and they build the clothes from the bottom all the way up and ship them out. Look into it. If you can, support these companies. Supplement is another one. They specialize in hydration. Water bottles, the water bottles that you see all the time, they have some that are even better than the ones that you normally would like. I have one. I don't have it on me right now, but I'm more than happy with mine. It's spill proof, and it's mainly spill proof because the cap screws inside the bottle instead of outside the bottle. So you can turn it upside down, you can do whatever, and you ain't spilling nothing out of it. It's an excellent product. Please go and support your brothers and sisters. Even if it's a little higher, they offer discounts all the time. Look into it, use the discounts, support them. Once again, tell them where they can find us.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, I mean, the reason that we are trying to promote Actively Black and supplement is because not because strictly because they're Black, but more to give you options. Is not to be tied into just one organization or one company. Amazon and Walmart have done that. Target have forced us to, we can only shop at certain places because they purchase all the small mom and pop companies and force you to do it. We're trying to give you another option. So what? You have to pay a couple cents extra or 50 cents more than you would somewhere else. You're supporting an organization, excuse me, a company that the people who own it and operate it look like you, and it gives us freedom. You want to talk about freedom? That's the first freedom that we can get here as a people in the United States is financial freedom and start circulating our dollars within our community. So that's why we bring that up, and we're going to continue to do that. But I'll close out by saying this has been a really good podcast. We're looking forward to y'all's comments. Please find us on YouTube. Again, subscribe. We are trying to reach that 200 subscription level. Give us any recommendations that you have. We look forward to getting back to the 250 years of Black legacy next week.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Peace out. Talk to you later.
Deuces.